Craze Sports Digest. I'd heard of it, and was proud to have my name on the cover, but I hadn't yet read it. "You have a great name," said the woman. "How about a great job?" She offered me a business card. The company's name was, Industries. I hesitated for a second, but it didn't seem like the sort of thing to refuse. Sure, I took the card, and as I did, I noticed that she was wearing a ring that had a big diamond set in it. "Nice," I said, holding it up. "What's that?" "1 carat. She laughed. "Don't tell anyone, but it's a diamond as big as my fist." "No way. I'll give you $20 for your copy of the magazine." It seemed like an easy enough deal, so I said yes. Then we shook hands and went our separate ways. I went into my house, put the magazine on the kitchen table, and tried to read it. It wasn't easy. My mind kept drifting from the text to the diamond. I found myself thinking about how it would look set in her wedding band, or even better, set in her nose. My thoughts kept drifting back to her, her long legs and the way she smiled and the way she moved. I wanted to see her again, if only so I could tell her I was sorry she hadn't made it out of the burning building. It took me hours to get through the article, but eventually I did, and then I went to bed. I was so distracted that I didn't realize that I'd left my watch on the kitchen counter until I got up in the morning. When I realized, I almost went back and got it, but then I thought, why bother? I knew I'd never go back to sleep, so what did it matter if it was a few hours off? I would be back at my desk by lunch. My watch was 5 hours slow. That made sense. It was the same watch I'd worn the night before, and I'd slept a full 8 hours. That meant that it was 7:30 in the morning. My alarm was set for 6. I lay in bed for a long time, trying to think of how I might change things, how I might fix it. I came up with nothing, so I eventually gave up and went back to sleep. When I woke, I felt even worse than I had the night before. My head ached, and there was a dull pain behind my eyes. The world was fuzzy around the edges, and it took me a while to realize what was wrong. It was Sunday. I staggered into the kitchen, switched on the coffee maker, and then sat down at the table. As the water heated, I looked out the window at the street below. There wasn't anything particularly remarkable about the view. A small cul-de-sac, with a couple of parked cars and a single mailbox. The houses were nice enough, but they all looked exactly the same. I guess they were built from the same mold, all identical except for their size. I'd read about cul-de-sacs being designed this way. It was supposed to give people privacy and a feeling of security. I finished my coffee and went upstairs. The bathroom mirror showed me a face that was pale and gaunt, with dark bags under my eyes. I looked awful, and then I looked more closely and saw the brownish skin on my cheeks. I must have slept through my shower, and that was why I'd overslept. It wasn't just the coffee that was making me feel so terrible. I needed some breakfast. I walked downstairs and went into the living room to wait for my eggs to cook. They weren't ready yet, so I turned on the television. It was a news channel. I changed channels until I found an old movie I remembered watching once, about a bunch of people in the future who are always getting chased by giant ants. The movie had been about 30 minutes long, but it had taken me 3 nights to watch all the way through. Now I was tired and hungry, so I settled in and watched it in a few gulps, my head falling back on the sofa cushions with each episode. After a while, I fell asleep again, waking only when someone turned on the lights. When I sat up, the woman from HR Industries was standing in front of me. "Good morning," she said. "Did you have a pleasant evening?" I glanced at my watch and saw that it was 11 o'clock, or more precisely, 11 o'clock on Sunday night. "I guess not," I said. "Where is this?" "A place where there are no clocks," said the woman. "The world where you came from is gone." "You mean my time machine?" The woman smiled. "Yes," she said. "It's gone." I was confused. "You can't have a time machine. You can't have anything." "We do," said the woman. "We have plenty of things, but your time machine isn't one of them." "I don't understand," I said. "What do you mean?" "The world where you came from," she said, "is gone because of your time machine." "That can't be true." "It is." The woman sat down in front of me on the coffee table. She reached into her jacket and brought out a black book bound in leather. She opened it and showed me a picture of a man with a long beard sitting in a room with a table and a couple of chairs. "This man is responsible for the destruction of your world." I frowned. "I don't know anything about any of this," I said. "Who is this man?" "He's known as the Traveler." She put the book down and crossed her legs. "Your world is gone because you created something very dangerous." "What did I create?" "Something called the paradox of your time machine." The woman looked down at her hands and spoke slowly. "You can travel through time, can't you? Your time machine took you into the future." "Yes." "And then you went back into your own past. The paradox is that you were there in the past, but you're already in the future at the time you went back. Your machine took you into another world, didn't it? And now that world is gone because of what you did. You're wrong, I said. My time machine didn't destroy that world. It didn't destroy it? No. How can you be so sure? Because my time machine is still there. She nodded thoughtfully and closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Where? She said. Can you take us there? I shook my head. There's nothing there now. What about after the end of time? Where will it be? That's not really something I know anything about, I said. You'd have to talk to someone else. She stood up again. Do you have any idea what it's like to have lived forever? To be able to remember everything that has ever happened? I thought about that for a moment. It would be impossible not to remember everything that ever happened, I said, because every event would have been recorded somewhere. Yes, said the woman, and the fact that we remember everything means that there is no need to have any more memories. She put her hand on my shoulder and squeezed gently. Then she turned and walked out of the room. I sat there for a long time, staring at the closed door. When I finally went back to bed, it was nearly dawn.